I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. So I am open, and I know for each one that has chosen to participate in this Zoom meeting, to participate via the internet, that we are open, just as the sky is opening today and is dressing the earth in a beautiful white veil, to know that we are privileged to be in a warm place, to be looking out the window at this magnificence that is taking place right now outside all of our windows. I hope you all can see it. So I know for each one here, they are easily able to take in all of the ideas and concepts of our wonderful teaching that are put forward by our own Reverend Karen Kushner, Reverend Dr. Karen Kushner. So I know for everyone here that they are feeling it, feeling the joy of the snowy day, just like we're little kids again. I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. I am opening, I am opening. My heart is ready to receive.
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. And as Rich said, we're probably warm and cozy at home, and I'll bet the chair you're sitting in is more comfortable than the chairs at the Masonic. So, a wonderful morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining. This is a historic thing. We're doing something new, as we've been doing for the last couple of years. Lots of new things. So, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton. We are a loving, healing, and inclusive community which teaches and practices the principles of the science of mind for the well being and spiritual growth of ourselves and the world. And yeah, a little bit of snow isn't going to stop us, that's for sure. So, welcome this morning. Today, we have the wonderful opportunity of listening to our own Reverend Karen Kushner. Um, and it's a wonderful thing to do that. And I'm glad that I can do it from home, relax here. Next week, we have Reverend Michelle, and Regina will be our practitioner. That's something to really look forward to. After that, Regina will be speaking. And then we have Lori, our favorite practitioner from Morristown, going to come and join us and share her thoughts. So we have a whole series of wonderful things throughout February, as usual. We have a new class starting. We will be sending out the information this week. We're very fortunate to have Reverend Christina Tillotson teaching the class. Uh, Susan, you have the name of the class. I have it right here. Infinite You as the Universe. It's the new course on this thing called You. Wonderful book written by Ernest Holmes. And so for those of you who some of you are not familiar with that book, we're going to have flyers. We're going to send them out for you to sign up for that course. Reverend Christina is the founder of the online portion of the Holmes Institute. She originated teaching across the internet for Science of Mind for CSL. Um, and for many years, she was the dean of the online university. And so she's a friend of mine and offered to teach a class for us. And so I'm very happy and we're very fortunate to have her. That will be Thursday nights. It will start February 25th, I believe, is the date. You're going to get the information for that. So I encourage you to sign up for that because that's another new thing we're doing. We've been trying for a while to schedule classes. This is a credit class. So if you want to move toward becoming a practitioner, and we truly hope that you do, um, it's a wonderful process becoming a practitioner. And this is the first class we're teaching, which is a credit class. Um, so look forward to that. Uh, and I think those are the announcements. Wednesdays, we have our wonderful peace meditation, which is led by Susan. I am going to be starting a program of, I'm just going to be reading the Science of Mind textbook and recording 15 minutes of it. And it will be available on our website, and I'll send out that link. That's something that Susan and I have been talking about. Um, so we're beginning to, the energy that all of us have brought to CSL Princeton is starting to show up in new forms. So thank you very much for joining us today, and we'll go on from there.
In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world that's full of chaos and noise. So I wait in this precious moment when I hear all that never has been said. And right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself, I find God, I find myself. In the silence there is peace. In the silence there is unspoken joy. In the silence there's release from a world that's full of chaos and noise. So I wait in this precious moment when I hear all that never has been said. And right here in this holy silence I find God, I find myself, I find God, I find myself.
Thank you, Reverend Rick. Good morning, CSL Princeton. I am Damaris Otero-Torres, a licensed practitioner here at the center, and I am delighted to be POD today from the comfort and warmth of my home. It's too cold out there. Um, I'm glad you're able to join us on Zoom, and later, I think the service will be posted on our Facebook page. So this is wonderful. We all love technology. 5 years ago, we never imagined that this could be possible, and here we are. So, today's contemplative moment is inspired by Emily Cady's book, Lessons in Truth. I think Emily Cady is pretty much like Emma, a foundational presence in this spiritual movement. Um, I'm sure that many of you have the same experience I do, that sometimes I feel I need a little bit of truth, and I randomly pick a book if I'm not guiding to pick that book and open it. And sure enough, it becomes an inspiration. I think that's part of the one mind working, right? And I did that yesterday, thinking, well, what am I going to say? And I went to Emily Gady's book, and certainly enough, I opened a chapter called Finding the Secret Place. So, what's the secret place within? I would say it's that sacred place within that has not been adulterated by false belief. It's that deeper core of our being in which we know that we know. We know that we know the truth. We know what we have to do. It is there to remind us of our spiritual essence. And if we hear it, if we pay attention, we will also recognize that, yeah, we know that we are one with that source of our being, with that divine intelligence. And her chapter details how we get to that place. And I'm going to share that with you. But what if today, instead of waiting for the snow to stop, we waited on the one presence? In fact, that's what Emily Cady reminds us, that this first step of moving higher and deeper in consciousness is to abide in the presence, to wait, to call on God. So she writes, all of our seeking for the light and truth, we must learn to wait, each one for themselves upon God for their inner revelation of truth and our oneness with the source. The light that we want is not something that God has to give. It is God Himself. God does not give us life or love as a thing. God is life and love. More of Himself in our consciousness then is what we all want, no matter what other name we may give it, she concludes. So, sitting in the silence, practicing the presence, that contemplation of the divine presence needs our full attention and practice. It is no coincidence that every center here at every service here at the center starts with a single affirmation. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. And that's something that we continue repeating. And it's something that we can bring to our homes at, or wherever we are at any time. But it's that calling on the present. So let's try to see if we can find that place to commune with that presence. Psalm 34:10 reminds us that those who seek the Lord lack no good thing. And in Isaiah, we also hear that those that wait for the Lord shall renew their strength. So being able to just sit and call on spirit through our grounding, through our knowing that we are not alone, through our knowing that whatever we desire has first been planted by that divine intelligence, that we're not alone is the first step towards having our lives transformed. It's that simple. So I'm going to start to guide you in that practice. So, as Matthew reminds us, let's go into our room and shut the door to any distractions. And let that innermost part of us, of ourselves be open to receiving that presence. I am opening. I am opening. My heart is ready to receive. And in that silence, let's repeat to that presence, you abide within me. You are alive there now. You have all the power. You are now the answer to all that I desire. You radiate yourself from the center of my being to the circumference and out into the visible world as the fullness of my desire. Let's just continue being still, being relaxed, and let that part of our being know that as we breathe, whatever we hold in our hearts is being released to that transformative, creative power. There's nothing for us to do. It is exactly what's happening right here and right now as we're contemplating the snow. There's nothing to do but to wait on that infinite presence, on that infinite power. Know that whatever you decide, it is being done. That power, that presence is working in each one here. And that certainly, without a doubt, each one here is receiving what they desire. And in that consciousness, I'll just say a few words. There's only one power, one presence. God the good, God infinite intelligence, God that is everywhere present. There is no space where God is not. And as each one realizes that, each one walks confidently in their lives, knowing that they're supported, guided, protected by that infinite presence of harmony, infinite presence of joy, of light, of fulfillment, of completion. Any thought, any concerns can be let go to that one power, with their knowing that whatever spirit put in our consciousness as desire, it's already fulfilled in the mind of God. And that we simply need to wait on that presence. God does not need our help. God needs our attention. God needs our willingness to be open, to be transformed. And that's it. So as we breathe, let's keep on welcoming spirit. Let's know that spirit is never late. Spirit is not delayed. Spirit simply knows that when we are ready, the answer appears immediately. And because we know we're one with that infinite source of good, we relax. We let go of any thoughts from the past that indicated that we have to make things happen through effort. We let that exertion go and we simply open our hearts in sweet, meek ways and know that God is there. This is the truth, and I now release it to that loving law, knowing that it is so, and so it is.
So it is.
Happy Sunday.
When I was a boy, each week on Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest, and he would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. The only difference is everything is holy now. Everything, everything, everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Jesus split the moon too, and Moses split the moon. And I remember feeling sad that miracles don't happen still, but now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything, everything, everything's a miracle. Wine, water is not so sad, but even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but find them where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips, but now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. 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 Everything is holy. Read a questioning child's face and say it's not a testament. Well, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come and say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when a church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. 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 Everything is holy. Oh, and now it is my great pleasure to introduce the Reverend Dr. Karen Kushner, who is coming to bring us some words of wisdom and some new insights on how to make this teaching work in our lives. Here she is.
Here she is. Yay. Well, it's such a delight to be here with all of us on the internet. And this is fun. Our topic is about conflict. And to start it off, I ask you to complete the sentence without any censoring. So the sentence is, conflict is, and your own gut filling out of that sentence is fine. And if you want to post it in the chat, that would be really cool. Or you could keep it quiet if necessary, but there's no wrong answer to this. This is your unconscious speaking. Conflict is, thank you very much, Regina. We have challenging. What else? Resolution, unnecessary, uncomfortable. My response coming from my family of origin is conflict is to be avoided at all costs. I've grown since then, and I'll talk about that. But so thank you, John. Conflict is hard, but makes me want to grow. Oh, okay. There you go. So it's important to know what your gut reaction is to conflict, because that's going to be present whenever you think conflict is about to happen. So we want to know what's being activated in us when we come into contact with potential conflict. So the second question is, and if you want to share, that would be great. If not, I understand. How did your family of origin handle conflict? Or how did the atmosphere around you, the people around you, handle conflict? Yelling. Yep, that's me. I got that. Lots of noise and crying. Yep, me too. Not very well. Good, Regina. Withdrawing. Yeah. Yeah. So we want to realize, feel free to keep sharing, but we want to realize how our family of origin handled conflict because that was impressed on us when we first came onto the planet and before we knew we had any choice about it. So it's probably still present in some of your genes or your cells somewhere. So you want to, again, be aware of what's going on with you. Self-awareness is one of our ways of achieving freedom of choice, because wherever we are not aware, we have no choice. Swept under the rug. Yeah, thank you, Lori. My family of origin, and God bless them all, and we've grown since then, but we would, my reaction, my sentence to conflict, our belief was conflict is to be avoided at all costs. And as a result, it happened regularly. You know, things would be swept under the rug or just ignored. It never happened. And then the emotion underneath of what needs to be said just got so loud that there would be an uproar and screaming and yelling, maybe throwing some things, breaking things. For a little child such as myself, it was very violent. I remember as I became a little bit older, trying to negotiate or intercede to somehow stop the conflict from happening. It seemed to mostly be between my mother and my father. And then I also remember just leaving, going into the backyard and sitting behind a tree as far away from the house as I could. So that's a really violent experience for someone who has no control over their life. They're just too young. So it's important to realize that. So our question right now is, where are we now? How do you usually respond to conflict right now? And realizing, we can ask another question. Let's do a scale. How well do you handle conflict? 0 or maybe minus is absolute disaster. Or 10 is how Jesus would handle conflict or God would handle conflict or the highest ideal of dealing with such a thing. So on a scale of 0 or minus, whatever, to 10, where do you think you are right now on that scale? And you don't have to share, oh, I got a 7. Yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I'm a 7, 8. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a lot of growth that's happened. 7.5. Oh, so accurate. It depends on the conflict, right? 4 to 8. Yeah, it depends on who, right? So wherever we are is fine, but we're all here in spiritual practice. What we want to realize is that we want to move up a point or half a point. We want to improve. And Science of Mind teaches us the way to improve. There's nothing that we can do to change another person. They're going to be the way they are, but we can absolutely change ourselves. So we go to spiritual truth. I've got my Science of Mind textbook. I'm on page 82 over to 83. The little chapter called Spirit, a little subheading called Its Nature, Spirit's Nature. and the very last paragraph of the page. Another point on which we are all agreed as to the nature of first cause or spirit is it is harmonious. If there were an element of inharmony, discord, or decay anywhere in its nature, it would destroy itself. So let's get clear about this. Spirit is infinite, and it's not divided. You cannot divide infinity. So spirit, life, the universe, it's one. The universe is one. This is a practical manifestation, but it's one universe. And if there was any physical aspect of the universe that was in conflict with any other physical aspect, the whole universe would implode. So we want to realize that oneness requires absolute unity within that oneness in order to be. You can't have within oneness a conflict within oneness. It wouldn't be one anymore. It would be destroyed. And when we're talking about conflict right now, there's conflict going on between ourselves and other people from time to time. But I also want you to be aware of conflict going on in your own mind. There's the trouble, really. So the universal oneness requires absolute harmony, absolute agreement, and that is the law of the universe. And so we experience a push and a pull in our freedom of choice. We discover that when we agree with the universal harmony, our lives go better. And wherever we are experiencing difficulty, problems, trouble, ill health, there is something in us which is no longer in agreement with the universal harmony. Because the universal harmony always creates good for itself. It expressed, right? We have the divine being all-knowing, so it knows what's good to create and what's not good to create. It's all-powerful, so it has first dibs on what gets created, and being all-knowing, it creates only that which is in essence with itself, which is of itself. It only creates that which is harmonious with itself. It only creates that which it loves to see created. So that is us. We're included in that. And where we have a denial of that truth in us, conflict occurs in us, and the universe, always maintaining harmony, has got to respond to us in a way where the conflict that we are engaged in is managed harmoniously. And the way that it gets managed harmoniously is the divine is moving heaven and earth to push us back into harmony. And so we get its guidance, we get its wisdom, and then we start getting its symptoms, and then we start getting a personal experience of chaos and disruption because we're not in harmony, and the universe absolutely is maintaining harmony in its creation. So, yeah, if we're feeling a need to express something and we don't do it, conflict is going to arise in us. Have you ever felt an urge, a strong urge, to say something and you don't? Right, that's right. It generally refers to a situation between people, correct, Jeff? A disagreement, so to speak. Right. So, but of course, we realize that there's a conflict in our own thoughts. Doubt is when we're desiring greater good and we're not sure about. I believe, it hasn't been proven yet, but I really believe if one person was able to settle every thought in them, every belief in them into harmonious agreement, I think the effect, like that lightning strike Jeff mentioned, it would zoom into the collective consciousness of the whole human race, and we would have world peace instantly. I mean, just look at people like Martin Luther King and Jesus and the Buddha, their crystal clarity of peace, of harmony, boom, changed the collective consciousness of the human race. So, moving forward now, let's talk about these other people. I brought up if you ever have that urge, very strong urge to say something, and you don't, that inner tension that starts building in you. The reason why that inner tension starts building in you is because that strong urge to say something is coming from God, not yourself. It needs to be said. This is why I love that we're on the internet right now. We have all these different little boxes with people in them, but every single one of us is seeing this world differently than everyone else. We're all looking at this screen, but I suspect all of our arrangements are all different. So we're seeing a different arrangement of people. But I'm looking at my little screen, and every once in a while you'll see me look over there because that's where my window is and the snow is coming. But the snow that I'm seeing is different than the snow that you might be seeing. And then everything between me and the window and the outdoors is my stuff, is my house. Each one of us always is in a different place than everyone else. And the divine has arranged us this way. If the divine wanted everyone to see exactly the same perspective of its infinite creation, it would only need one of us. But the divine wants to see its diversity in creation by creating each and every one of us to see it differently. Each one of us is seeing this world, humanity, this entire experience right now, this service right now, differently. And everyone's perspective is important and is necessary for the whole to be seen. So harmony in diversity is the divine creating its harmony and expressing itself in infinite variety. But for each one of us to be in harmony with the divine harmony, we must follow that inner guidance. That inner guidance is arranging all of us on this planet so that the highest and the greatest good of all is done. Let's come to a traffic light. We have, if you've been in classes with me a long time ago, I would draw that intersection, right? Here's the north-south road. Here's the east-west road. Let's say we're along Route 1, right? Pick a spot. And the light could be red or the light could be green. What is the light for you? Is it red or is it green? Let's say you are in this teaching and you know that you can make a choice that will affect that traffic light for you. So let's all now choose to have a green light. Who gets the green light? I do. I'm the highest consciousness. Right? You're like, excuse me? Let me put a little more oomph. I'm clearer about it, right? So we're basically all the same level of consciousness. So then who gets the green light? What we want to realize, because universal harmony is always maintained, there's only one answer. The light is green so that the highest and greatest good of all may be done. When agreeing with the universal harmony, we agree with the highest and the greatest good of all, realizing our personal good must be part of that. It can't be, I'm the sacrificer and the highest and greatest good for all of you is done. That's not universal harmony. We have to take our place with accepting our good. And we have to realize that the only way each one of us can be in our right place is if we take it. And realize that because you take your right place, that gives room for everyone else to take their right place. If I'm not in my right place, then I'm in somebody else's place. And that means they can't have their harmony and I can't have my harmony. Think of each one of us as in an orbit, circling around God. And we've been circling for 1,000 years, and we still do not know if we are a falcon or a storm or a great song. That's a little bit of Rilke thrown in there. But we're circling around God in each one of us in our divinely orchestrated, divinely created orbits. And just like there are no two electrons in a particular orbit, there's no two people that have the same orbit. And the only way we know what is our orbit, because we could be anywhere, right? We could be anywhere on the planet. Where am I to be for my highest and greatest good? It's following that inner guidance. The inner guidance that knows everything. It knows where everyone else is. And it knows where you are for your highest and greatest good, for your easiest path, for your happiest path. All right, getting back to other people now. Each one of us has our own unique, divinely created perspective on what is present. And let's assume each one of us is in our right place. Now, the example I give if we all were in the same room is I'm talking to you and you're all seated in the audience in front of me. So let's imagine we're at the Masonic and I'm standing up there against the windows and you're all seated looking at me. And because you're seated looking at me, you can see that there is a giant gorilla outside, ready to start banging on the window. And because I'm looking into the Masonic, I can see that door that goes off to the restrooms and the stairwell and another exit to the Masonic. And I can see coming through that door a giant elephant. We're all in harmony. We're all in our right places. What do? I'm in the position of authority, and you're all starting to jumping around, going up, 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 up. There's a gorilla. There's a gorilla. And I'm like, no, 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 no. Relax, everybody. Relax. Listen, what I have to tell you is about this elephant, and you're not listening to me because you're seeing a critical situation happening behind me. And your plan, without my information, is for all of us to get up and go through that exit to the front door of the Masonic. And I'm seeing an elephant there, and I know we can't get there. So my plan is now we all leave through these side doors to the back of the Masonic, where the gorilla is. Communication is always required in the two or more. And when we communicate successfully, healthfully, easily, quickly. We can have all the information that we as a group require to rearrange ourselves on the planet so that our highest and greatest good can continue to be maintained. Now, this is what's going on all the time between two people who say are in disagreement. Let's, for those of you, we have any parents, right? You have that the child going, "Rah, rah, 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 rah." I remember when my niece wanted to run outside into the street, and she didn't understand why that was not good and why she needed to be punished, because she didn't have the information that there's cars on that street. And when we realize that everyone has that unique perspective, then we switch from arguing our point of view. We switch from that need to say, there's a gorilla out there, shut up and start, follow us out. And I start saying, calm down, everybody. There's an elephant there. We got to go, whatever. We stop arguing. We stop disagreeing about what we're seeing and what we should do. And we move to respect for everyone who is involved, respect that they have a unique position given to them by God, and that they have something to communicate that is valuable, not just to them, but to you and to everyone else concerned. So harmony requires we, in the relative world, having different points of view, to communicate that point of view to each other for the higher and the greater good to be revealed. There can be no solution in the gorilla elephant room until we communicate. No good solution. I mean, I imagine there is the solution where you all join together and throw me at the gorilla, and then you discover there's an elephant, and so you figure whatever. But you've sacrificed me, so you're fine. But is that the highest and the greatest good of all? Well, maybe it is if we include the gorilla's highest and greatest good. That's a philosophical question I haven't resolved yet. But Jeff just posted that the gorilla and the elephant are both part of the whole picture, and they have to get communicated in the community. Exactly. They have needs. They want what they want. And if we were able to listen to them, and there probably is a way to listen to them, then that would help us in the conversation, how to deal with the gorilla, how to deal with the elephant. So and what Jeff has pointed out, we want to realize is that the snow is communicating something to us. And the shovelers are communicating something to us. And for some reason, I'm seeing all sorts of different birds flying around my house. They're communicating something. And when we realize the universal harmony, the universal oneness, that we are all one, and the value that each creation in this relative form of expression has, when we realize this, we open up to listening, as well as following that inner guidance that we're listening to. And that inner guidance says, say what you need to say and listen to what the other has to say. And many of you has experienced the co-creation process. And that's right there, proof that when you listen and everyone speaks their truth, a completely different solution emerges. Then you reach a point, and what the human race likes right now is the majority. The majority rules. So everybody votes, the majority rules. What we're experiencing right now in our country is it doesn't work. It's not harmony. The majority rules is not harmony. Consensus, complete agreement, is one with the universal harmony. But when majority rules, you have a minority that is now suppressed. Do they still have a say? Are they able to communicate their point of view, what they need, what they're seeing? This is valuable information. And conflict can be completely eliminated. Number one, it's not from God ever. The divine has created us with a voice, with a way to write, with a way to communicate, ears to hear, a voice to speak. We're not using them. Why aren't we using them? Let's go back to that family of origin. They taught us the way that they dealt with conflict. They didn't know any better. But there are better ways. And eventually, my family did start learning better ways so that we can actually be together now with no screaming and with no yelling. And if we throw things, it's for fun. But we have to learn. And we here are spiritual people. We're people on a spiritual path. We want to know what is the divine way. What is our essence? What is divinely natural for us to be? And so when we realize that in the divine, the all in all, conflict is impossible. It's not even, it doesn't exist at all. And the divine is creating us in its image and likeness. It's not creating us to have conflict. It's creating us to communicate. And when we've got our triggers handled, right? Because we all have triggers, and that reaction to conflict activated, that's the junk that gets in the way of the divine system that is operating harmoniously. If I'm thinking conflict is to be avoided at all costs, and you have something important to tell me, and I'm like, no, 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 no. Let's go do something else, or I'm running away, or somehow I'm avoiding. There's an opportunity that is missed for the highest and greatest good to emerge for me, for you, and for the two of us together. So I like that. God never says or thinks that's wrong. God understands. God is perspective. And so we want to realize that about ourselves. Everyone, right? We have to get this. It's interesting. I was doing a training this week, and only one person out of perhaps 30 people that I worked with said the reason why he has conflict is the other people are ignorant. And they know they've been trained to do what they need to do, and they're not doing it. It's because they're ignorant. Well, I couldn't get him off of that point of view, but you can see how that point of view is going to create more conflict. You're ignorant, and you just got to get your own act together. But when you are more aware, which now we all are, we're all moving up a spot there, we realize that there's value in what the other person has to say, even if it's a whole lot of their false beliefs that have to be coming out. We want to listen through all those false beliefs going on, realizing that those false beliefs, first of all, that are coming out, maybe yelling, screaming in that form, whatever, they have nothing to do with you. It's their perspective of conflict that you're hearing. But as you listen to all that and respect all that they're being said, eventually they'll start calming down. And you'll be able to now start talking about the gorilla and the elephant that are around us. And when we have that experience, we realize there never was any conflict about the particular issue. What do we do in the room? All that we experienced was all of the false beliefs and the family of origin stuff and the reactions to conflict going on in me, in you. When all that is false belief, all of that did not come from God, and all of that didn't need to be said or felt or expressed for us to say, gorilla, elephant. That's it. So the good news is we don't have to get the other person to heal all their family of origin stuff in order to experience more and more harmony. When we realize and treat the other person, when we realize the other person has a unique perspective that you cannot see, and when you respect that perspective and listen to that point of view, automatically the divine in them calms them down because they're being heard. And that's our job with another person, is to hear them. And when they're being heard, they calm down, and now they're in a position where they can hear you. When I'm screaming elephant, you're screaming gorilla, we can't hear each other. But when we calm down, we can hear each other. And so, being spiritual beings here, listening to this talk right now, I invite you to consider being the initiator of harmony. And the way it's initiated is by listening. What is your point of view? Asking questions. I'm not seeing that elephant that you're talking about. And maybe you even turn around and you don't see it because all you're seeing is gray. And I was saying, no, I saw it when it was coming in. There was a trunk, there were tusks. Now all you're seeing is its body, whatever. Uh, you can hear me. We can talk about facts. We can talk about the situation, the relative movement of everything on this planet. The emotion dissipates because now we're talking about what is best for us. We can never, right, get to what is best for us when I'm saying what's best for me is that I'm proven right. And what's best for you, I think, is that you shut up and listen to me. Or that you're not hearing me. You're not hearing me. Right? We have St. Francis who said, right, seek first to understand, but then he didn't tell us how. So what we want to realize is that the how is built into us, that spiritual recognition of the uniqueness of each one and of the value of their uniqueness, right? That's number one. From there, then, what do you have to say? What are you seeing that I cannot see? What parts are moving that never occurred to me? And now you're interested in the other person, and it's the divine that calms them down. And yes, it will guide them to finally be able to hear you all the way through. So we begin with ourselves, world peace. We've got these lovely monks who are walking around. But think about, I actually saw a picture of them leaving wherever they left this morning. I think it was somewhere down south. And the first guy in the train of monks, he didn't look happy. He was like, I was like, wait a minute, what's going on in your mind? But yay, they're taking a stand for peace. They've got a unique perspective and they're just letting themselves be seen. And it's affecting us. And the way that it affects us probably, right, is first of all, we become aware of the conflict inside our own selves, as well as all the conflict going on in the world right now. But I think the conflict is being intensified for us because we have been having at least a century of science of mind, of spiritual teaching, affecting more and more mainstream people, more and more people who are in the world. So we don't have to go to Tibet. We don't have to go to a spiritual retreat to have that silence and have spiritual truth spoken to us. We can be right here in our own homes, right? And we're hearing spiritual truth. So we can hear that spiritual truth now. And we have been changing the collective consciousness of the human race now in deeper and larger, more spread out ways for the past 100 years. And so the conflict, the lie in the conflict is what's emerging. And we're seeing the pain of it for sure. But we are here knowing something a little bit more. And so we now can take this spiritual truth, whatever we heard in this particular meeting right now, it may have been what was said to you, said in the chat, something I said from within, but might have been in the music, might have been in the spiritual mind treatment, might have been in the welcome, but wherever it was, you can take that and begin practicing it. And so that's our lesson for today. Let's move on now. I think we give it to who? Regina? I'm not sure, but I'm done.
Yes. Thank you. Bravo. So, this is a time where we talk about giving and receiving. And the law of giving and receiving from Ernest Holmes says everything in nature moves in circles. What goes out must come back. Unless the seed is sown, it cannot bear fruit. There must be a planting time for every harvest. Those who give all, receive all. Those who refuse to give limit the possibility of the greater good returning to them. Love and you will be loved. Extend joy and you will become more joyful. The ancient Talmud says, God will doubly guide the already guided. And Jesus said, give and it shall be given unto you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together, and running over, shall men give into your bosom. For with the same measure that ye meet withal, it shall be measured to you again. So, in order to give to the Center for Spiritual Living, Princeton, we have a donate button on our webpage. Our webpage address is CSL Princeton, all one word, .org. And when you scroll down to the bottom of the page, not only do you have an opportunity to request a prayer, you also have an opportunity to donate to our center. Thank you.
I think it's time for a closing treatment, and then I'll play the Going Away song. How's that?
Okay, so I do the closing treatment, eh?
Yes, please.
I'm coming from Canada now. All right, so this word is being spoken for each one here, each one listening. Only God, universal harmony, is omnipresent and is present within each one right here, right now. And each one is already receiving the wisdom and the guidance to experience more of this harmony than ever before, to experience this perfect harmony's expression and experience with each and every person that they meet in each and every situation. That divine inner harmony is guiding each one, and each one is aware of it, listening to it, and following its wisdom and its guidance. And so because of this truth, the human race is experiencing more harmony than ever before. I am grateful that this is truth. I let it go, it is done, and we agree by saying together,
And so it is.
I said, guide my feet while I run this race. Yeah, I said, guide my feet while I run this race. I said, guide my feet while I run this race, 'cause I don't want to run this race in vain. 'Cause I don't want to run this race in vain. 'Cause I don't want to run this race in vain. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John. Thank you, Damaris.
See you next week, one way or the other.
See you next week.
All right.
Thank you.